It's new to them.
We have to enjoy our time together to the best of our ability.
Don't lick me. I'll fine.
So this morning I got to wake up and talk about authority. So that's been fun. Do we have authority over each other? Does the man have authority over...
Why are you bringing that up
It's
here?
just
Like,
fun. Maybe
this
somebody has something good to say about it. Who knows?
this,
All right, let's not talk about it anymore. It's a fun subject.
no, but I just... Yeah, I don't care. We can talk about it if that's why we're here, but I just don't know why you're bringing that up.
Okay. I was just talking about it. Now we're transitioning. Big yawn. All right, what's the date? The 9th. Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yes, you need your glasses.
My eyes aren't working properly.
Aww.
Oh, my goodness. A pug with glasses. All right.
No. Is
Well,
that the
that's
one?
July. Yeah, July 9th.
Is today the 9th?
Today is the 9th. My goodness. Flying. Summer's almost over. Oh, my goodness. What do you have planned on today?
Didn't we do go with the flow? Didn't I do this one last? Today might be
No.
the 10th.
I think... What was in your coffee? No, it's the 9th.
Really?
Yeah, we missed yesterday.
Yeah, but we read this, didn't we?
No. We did not. All right. All right. It is July 9th all day. Overspending and underspending. Ooh. Let's skip this one. Let's go back to yesterday. All right. I used to beat my husband to death with my credit card. It made me feel like I had some control, some way to get even with him. I spent 10 years buying everything for myself at garage sales. I didn't even buy myself a new pair of shoes. The entire time I was depriving myself. My husband was gambling, speculating on risky business deals, and doing whatever he wanted with money. I learned that when I made a decision that I deserved to have the things I wanted and made a decision to buy something I wanted, there was enough money to do it. It wasn't about being frugal. It was about depriving myself and being a martyr. And that was a quote from Anonymous.
Those were two different.
Two different quotes, yeah. Yeah, I'll read the first one again. I used to beat my husband to death with my credit card. It made me feel like I had some control, some way to get even with him. And then the other one was the opposite of that,
Yes.
depriving.
Yeah.
But both control.
Yeah.
Compulsive buying or overspending may give us a temporary feeling of power or satisfaction, but like other out-of-control behaviors, it has predictable negative consequences. Underspending can leave us feeling victimized too. There is a difference between responsible spending and martyred deprivation. There is a difference between treating ourselves well financially and overspending. We can learn to discern that difference. We can develop responsible spending habits that reflect high self-esteem and love for ourselves. Today, I will strive for balance in my spending habits. If I am overspending, I will stop and deal with what's going on inside of me. If I am underspending or depriving myself, I will ask if that is necessary and what I want. Amen. Any thoughts on overspending, buddy, at the vet?
I do.
Buddy's been taking all of our money. Attached to that, even.
Well, I think that spending or not spending, like it's such an emotional thing. I know for sure, like for us, we went on a cash budget and years ago decided that we wanted to live debt free, did really, really well with that and had like our little pockets of money. And so we never had to feel guilty about eating in restaurants because it was all in our plan. Mm. And then COVID hit and we switched from being cash oriented to using our credit card all the time. And I feel like for me, I'll just speak for myself, that at the beginning it was a bit of a like
free for all.
It was a
Is
bit,
that the right word?
and not that like I was like buying gorgeous new clothes or anything like that. I'm getting some, and not ever paying attention to like where's our and
not living in the
yes,
restraints, not restraints, but living in the order that
right,
we have in our budget,
which gives us such freedom. Like I love never having to worry about paying off our credit card. I mean, we always pay our full balance every single month, and the last few months we've still paid the full balance every single month, but it's been like a little bit of a oh, that was a little bit more than I expected.
Yeah, and when you put a vacuum on it, a dog bill on it, you're like, oh my goodness. And then all that, like I'm used to paying cash for everything, gas, our allowance, and then now it's like, oh wow, it's all on this card, and I just use this card like a little magic.
And so it hasn't turned out to be too much more, other than like a few extra things than the dog, like, but it hasn't turned out to be crazy amount more than like, but it still has a bit of an out of control feeling.
It causes me a bit of anxiety
because we for so long, like almost a decade, we told our money where to go. So we chose, this is where this money is going to come in, and this is where we're going to spend it. I loved that feeling. It felt so responsible.
And it was safe. Yeah.
Definitely felt safe. And so I know that my emotional spending is totally a thing. And I know that there's definitely moments where like, so last night I was emotional. You were
Is this a confession?
No. You were in meetings. I don't have the same.
I bought a car.
No, I don't have this. I've been looking at a car. I've been looking at cars. But last night I was like, oh, I want to make this for dinner tomorrow, and I don't have all the ingredients, and I'm gonna go buy these ingredients. But you were in a meeting, and I would have gone by myself, and I knew that I was emotional, and I knew that if I went, I would
$400.
I would be gone. I don't know how long, and I would look. I don't know that I would have spent very much.
You like to go,
but I would have done
clothing.
I would have done a little bit of impulse buying, and I would have been able to justify all of it. But I knew, as I sat on my couch feeling sad, I knew that I wanted to leave that sad place.
Very responsible of you.
I know.
Good job.
I knew that I wanted to leave the sad place, and so I should just stay home. And so I actually like went through.
That's a whole
the process of like, what do I do with this sadness instead of just trying to go to a store and be distracted? And because there's something too about, for me, online shopping wouldn't do the same thing. I need to be like in a store with like strangers and people around me. That's part of the whole experience of like, and I hardly ever, I mean, I occasionally buy something. It's not about buying something for me. It's about the experience.
Well, I'm pretty convinced that no one has money problems. They're a different issue. It's just a it's just a symptom of an issue. And I think in recovery, I can remember we all lived paycheck to paycheck. And then depending on how you grew up, then there was, you have family of origin stuff with money and, all that stuff. And then we come into recovery and I see guys that used to throw money around by the thousands on the weekend, and now they're in recovery in a job, and it's like they're clamoring onto it. And the guys that I see successful is treating money God's way. Like God has set out a design for our own good. And I see guys, even on the best guys that I've seen on welfare or on ODSP, is they're the ones that give $10, and they're the ones that aren't holding on to their money. And it's like, whatever we have a grip on actually is gripping us. And I think we have the tendency to do that with finances especially. And so there is a proper way to treat money, and you're blessed because of it. So, it's hard. Good vulnerable stuff.